Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 444. This is your guide to the geek side, and I am one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, from wonderful Sauvage, Minnesota, the land of pumpkin spice. Not really, I lie. Joined by Charlie Carden.
You lied. It can't be done. It can't be done. We're having, I tell you, it's a conflagrate. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today, but pumpkin spice is out there. Pumpkins are showing up on my neighbor's porches. So what is it? We're in Quagmire land. I don't get it.
It's wonderful.
It's too strange.
Wonderful. All things, everything should be pumpkin.
Multiverse.
I love it.
The multiverse of man. Well, April's been getting her pumpkin spice thingy from Starbucks for weeks now. So that's as long as it's available, that makes it fall. But it is actual meteorological fall that happened a couple of days ago. So anyway, I love fall. I mean, I enjoy summer because, we have such horrible winters here in the Midwest, and I enjoy summer, but I adore fall.
I don't know anybody who hates fall. I really don't.
Like hoodie weather.
Everybody loves fall because it's like the one season where it seems like the weather isn't insane. Yeah. You've got more to do. It's fun, unless you hate Halloween, which I do know a couple people that hate Halloween. So
that's so weird. I mean, I know people who don't like to dress up like yourself, but
I like to dress up for Halloween. I don't like to dress up the 360 whatever 4 days out of the year that are not Halloween.
I had that exact same conversation with somebody yesterday. April and I did, as you know, we did a charity event over in Detroit with other cosplayers. And yes, we were talking about that. Kids get excited about that stuff. And then you have weird adults like us. But at any rate, here we go. Time to get talking about some geek stuff. We took the weather stuff a little far. But as always, we got two things right off the top that we'd love to tackle. It is day watch, day 154 of the WGA strike and day 84 of the SAG-AFTRA strike. I thought I read a headline last night that said there was going to be a deal on the table for the WGA strike yet again.
The deal is
probably
that
early next week.
The AMPTP is putting forward is basically last and best offer. So
yes, that's the headline I saw from Deadline. Last and best offer, which is
take this over.
Right.
Because if we keep striking, you're never gonna get new scripts. So are you saying that's it? We're done we're pecking it up. We're done.
We're gonna restart the industry with somebody else.
Will now be released.
Yeah. We'll take them all. Give me your failed pilot from 1957. But at any rate, as we talk about week after week, we have the deepest love, admiration, and respect for these creative types who are fighting for their right to just have a livable wage. Please visit entertainmentcommunity.org if you're able to contribute to help these folks out. It would be awesome if you would do so. And we stand in solidarity, as most people who don't want to get canceled. There's been a few actors and writers who've come out against it. Like who's that dude who was on Green Arrow? Didn't he? Stephen Amell, didn't he come out against the SAG-AFTRA strike?
He had a moment. He had a moment because he was frustrated because he had a show coming out that he couldn't promote. Yeah. So he's frustrated about it. He's changed his tune and he's back in the good graces.
I would imagine. But at any rate, please do visit that website if you can offer support. And speaking of offering support, we always love to pay homage to the folks that support us through our Patreon over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. These are the wonderful people who give us the ability to create great new extra content, which is available at that website. You can visit and opt for a free 1 week trial to check us out and all of our fun programming. Both Todd and I and Mark from time to time do create fun new content, including Todd's Fansplained, where he breaks down with a super fan of something, and my show, The Effects of Geek Life, where I am joined by a co-host where we talk about a classic season of a classic series. So again, patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Want to give love and respect to Jamie Prinky on the Best Buds level, and on the BFFs level, Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, the wonderful Nias family, my dear friend Missy Merchant, and Andy Milliken. We thank you for all that you do.
And I thank myself for picking out a cover, which to me is highlighting the wacky, weird world of DC in the 1960s. So I picked, Charlie, Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen from April 1960. This cover is fantastic because essentially it's got Jimmy Olsen as a werewolf in a suit. He's still looking good. And it says, "Help me, Superman. This magic potion turned me into a wolf man, and the spell can be broken only if a pretty girl kisses me, but my face shocks them." And this is featuring Jimmy Olsen as the werewolf, the Wolfman of Metropolis, Charlie.
There is plenty to unpack here. And again, this is from 1960, which is, we're starting to get to the end of like, what the hell's going on with this cover? So you got, basically it's Betty and Veronica in the midground of this picture. Superman is landing in the back. Because it's a DC comic of this era, the entire plot line of the comic is being expelled in this, or is being, is exposition for this. And then you're seeing him obviously explain what the heck is going on. But I'm not super aware of drinking a potion that makes you a werewolf, where you're more wolf than man, doesn't mess up your clothes, gives you, a sweet nail job. Look at his nails.
Yes.
It's the same color as his bow tie. And look at that. You know what? That gold watch. I think, what I think about Jimmy Olsen? He's a fence. Where did he get that watch?
He has a price, Charlie,
some
not
kid
to post his
snapping
photos.
pictures.
If you pay him off, you won't post those photos.
Yeah. Oh, so he's like Danny
Exactly.
DeVito's character in LA Confidential.
Hush, hush, yes.
Hush, hush.
I
Hush, hush,
do have a
the
question.
QT.
We've got
my
the
gosh.
potion that's just smoking, but then we've got this thing next to him which says ZZZ. What is that? Is his watch going off? Is it like the Superman alarm? Werewolf detector?
But yeah, I was wondering, is that because there's the potion drifting out of the little I Dream of Jeannie thing that he's drinking out
coming
of,
back,
but it seems to dovetail
noise?
back around. So, but at the end of it makes a sleepy noise. Does it say Z? Now I don't have my glasses on. Does it say Z Z-E-E like Zed? Or is it just Z like somebody sleeping?
Like the funny part, Charlie, I think I know the plot without even reading it. I'm guessing that he was trying to take a love potion and it would give him animal magnetism. It's the perfect, monkey's paw.
Oh my God. It is absolutely terrible. And then you did capture, I assume this is from the same comic. One of these delightful ads from that era. Now, this was your first multi-level marketing scheme. Is this from Amway by any chance? Make money, get prizes with fast-selling American seeds. Send no money. We trust you.
We have a collection agency.
Yes. Yes, Americans. Yeah, for juveniles.
They're gonna steal your
collection. Laws probably don't apply. They're gonna sue your parents. Oh my God. So American Seed Company, Department 12 of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, our 42nd year. So they've been around since the time of the Titanic. They've been making these seeds. But yes, you can extra by exceptional sales will get you an RCA portable TV, which doesn't look like it works. A Polaroid old-timey camera, one of those record players that you had in elementary school, and a bag with $100 written on it. Which
I love the fact, though,
paper.
that there's no reference of like how much anything would cost. It's essentially you just send this thing in.
Right.
You don't know how much you're on the lam for to sell this crap. Any of these prizes, you could get an 8-volume encyclopedia. Badminton sets. This is the lower tier. You mentioned the grand prizes, but a chem lab that's full of
I think in all
cancer-causing agents.
I was going to say all of the seeds, despite what's pictured, are marijuana seeds. So you're not going to need them. Yeah, I think this is either multi-level marketing or maybe it's part of some kind of northeastern Pennsylvania.
Ask your mom if she partook in this seed selling industry.
Yeah, right. Or any of my uncles, right? Because they were a little bit more of the age. Yeah. My mom in 1960 she was 12. So, but my uncles were all young.
Are you aware of selling seeds for cash? Poppy seed.
Yeah, exactly. For cash. Oh my God. Well, you know what? I have a feeling, and I probably shouldn't speak out of school, but I'll go ahead. I get the feeling that our senior news correspondent, Madam Webb, might have gotten involved in this back in, what was it, 1912 when this got kicked off?
Yes.
1922. Yeah, because she would have been of the right age and probably a sharecropper somewhere in the New South. But anyway, yes, she's done many things to make money. But these days, she works for us at 123 years young. That would be Madam Webb, once again down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine, with the latest scoops. Let's check it out.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's Rumors and News. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. My goodness, Madam Webb, I know you were your claim to fame, that you were actually the mistress of the man who started Amway. You whispered in his ear and telling him, "Hey, I know a way that I was part of the pyramid scandal back
The
in the
pyramid
day
scheme in the pyramids.
in Great Egypt." Yeah, where I tried to sell the pyramids to British explorers, and it didn't
The
work very
British
well. But
Museum.
I bet it could work for you selling soap.
Oh my God. And that would be right here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where Amway is one of those funny things. It's here, but you never hear anything about it.
It's
So
not
it's kind
Amway
of like
anymore, is it? It's now called something Star.
it's like Quick Star or something. But I mean the building, as you drive by, because you drive down M21, which runs across the state of Michigan, but Todd, because it runs right into Flint. But as you get into the Grand Rapids portion of it, you see Amway World Headquarters, and it's a sprawling campus. I think it's Cobra. That's what I think, because that's the plot line from the Marvel G.I. Joe comic, because that's how Cobra Commander started Cobra, is by selling cleaning products. Honest to God, that was the storyline is revealed. So Amway is Cobra, which means Dick DeVos is Cobra Commander. Betsy DeVos is the Baroness. And
it all makes sense now. It all makes sense.
I could go on, but I will
don't worry,
not.
They won't find you, Charlie. They won't find you.
Oh yeah, clunk, 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 knocking down the battle android troopers knocking down my door. Okay, we are just a couple of weeks away from New York Comic-Con. That is kind of the fall comic event from the big 5 cons we have around the country. Emerald, San Diego, Dragon Con, this one, and what's the 5th one? Maybe it's only 4. Is there a 5th big show that happens every year?
I think Emerald City is a big one still.
Yeah,
up the great.
Yeah, no, I said I was just trying to figure out if there was another one.
Con, NY, San Diego. Yeah, those are probably the big ones.
They're kind of in the 4 corners of the country. And
you'd think Florida would have a big one just because it's so populous within Orlando and different areas, Tampa, Miami, but apparently it's too sweaty.
Maybe it's too sweaty. Maybe Disney stamped it out. But anyway, it kicks off Thursday, October 12th, and runs through that weekend. So we have some panels and things going on, naturally, because of the writer strike and SAG-AFTRA. A lot of these panels that you will see and creators that you will hear from will be somewhat limited in what they're saying, but it's still a chance to have a good time. So Thursday, we're getting panels on Futurama, which always blows my mind that it's still on, because I don't feel like I've watched it in 20 years.
Oh, it's great. Love it.
Yeah. Well, the great news is in 2024, we all have a chance to watch everything, because there won't be anything new.
Please do.
Something called Scavenger's Reign on Max. Not familiar with that. Is that something new? Something you're aware
animated series on Adult Swim.
Okay.
So it's probably not in your purview.
Gotcha. For All Mankind on Apple Plus will be the...
Have you checked that series out yet, Charlie? That's Ron Moore's space race series where the Russians beat us to the moon.
Oh.
I think it would be right up. I mean, you love Outlander, and that show is a ridiculous mess, but this is kind of like alternate reality that's mixed with... Yeah,
you say it's a ridiculous mess, but you never watched it, so that's okay.
Charlie, I've been told the plot. It's a ridiculous mess, and
the plot is a ridiculous mess. The show itself, it's an open interpretation.
Fine. I mean, of course, it's Ron Moore. I mean, he's not going to make a horrible show, but which this one is acclaimed. It's supposed to be really good. I've watched a couple episodes. It's really well done. It's really cool. So this should be on like your radar because it takes place in the 60s. Very cool.
Sure.
It's kind of like Mad Men with space.
Mad Men in space. Well, plenty of time to watch it. Plenty of time to watch it next year. Friday gives us a rollout of the Monarch Legacy of the Monsters on Apple Plus. That's going to be the show starring the Russells, the father and son. A screening and panel presentation. Goosebumps, which everybody knows. Goosebumps, Disney Plus and Hulu. Some kind of a joint something.
It's a new series. Yeah, I think it was originally, it's going to be on Disney Plus and Hulu. I mean, it's kind of like everything is everywhere. But yeah, it's a new series that's coming out, which is good because I've really enjoyed Goosebumps. I was older when Goosebumps launched, but it's the movies I enjoyed, and these new ones are been pretty good.
Yeah. The show Evil, which is on Paramount Plus, which we've dabbled in. It's got Luke Cage.
It's a fun show. I need to go back. I really like everybody.
A woman, the woman who almost looks like Peggy Carter is his co-star. Shining Veil, which that rings a bell. Season 2.
It's a Courtney Cox horror comedy series, which I saw like some of the trailers. I'm like, this looks really good. It looks really interesting. Like I just don't have stars.
Right, but you can get it. You can literally get it for a nickel. That's really one of the services.
Can you? Okay, maybe I'll check it out if it's cheap. Yeah.
Again, I'm always boggled. We did the first season of this show on the Facts Geek Life, Sweets and our friend Ken McFarland and myself. Archer launching into its 13th season,
Final
13th
season.
final
Yeah.
season. So
Yeah.
that would be one that I want to dive back into, and I'm sure if you subscribe to our Patreon, once
I've
I get
heard skip the
yeah.
seasons that are like the alternate reality Archer, where he's in a coma and he's having like
Oh
fever
my,
dreams. He's a detective, and then he's this and
he
he's that.
he does a full Bobby in the shower scene kind of thing. But
Pretty
anyway,
much,
once I get Sweets back, she's a Halloween cosplayer, a hired one who does a lot of shows. Once I get her back from that, we'll probably end up talking about this again. Chucky is back on USA/Syfy. Neither of which have a streaming home. I don't know. Isn't it
no,
sci-fi
Peacock.
somewhere? Isn't it?
Everything goes to
Peacock,
Peacock.
gotcha.
Yep.
So he's back again, and there's a screening of an episode there. The Changeling on Apple Plus, is that with Angelina Jolie? Didn't she make a movie by that name?
She did make a Changeling. There was also a Changeling movie with George C. Scott. This is a new one with a more modern cast, and it sounds very. For the reviews I read about, because I was looking into it, it sounds like it's very much off-putting, and it doesn't hit the landing.
Oh, great!
Yeah, so not exactly a winner. Yeah,
sounds like fun. Okay, moving on to Saturday. We talked previously about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Is this the animated thing we talked about, or is this something else?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Gotcha. Ramona Flowers, yada, 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 revisiting, and then there'd be a Q&A to follow. Which
mostly creators are doing these panels too, folks.
I was going to say if it was actors, it would be a panel where you can't ask many questions. And that would
it's voice acting, I think animation, but the actors are not going to show up to talk about their projects like this. Yeah.
Gotcha. New show on Fox called Krapopolis and Grimsburg. Set in mythic Greece, Krapopolis tells the story of a dysfunctional family of humans, gods, and monsters that try their hand at running the world's first cities. I assume this is a comedy, and it's because it's part of
animated series.
Domination,
Dan
and
Harmon,
then Grimsburg,
community creator.
Grimsburg has John Hamm, the greatest detective ever to catch a cannibal con and correctly identify a mid-century modern memoir. Well, that doesn't sound like a comedy. But it still could be. So look at that. And then a Star Trek Universe panel. Again, no actors. And all they really have to talk about is Lower Decks, which is on right now, and potentially Discovery in February of next year. Today, by the way, we're recording on September 24 is the 6th anniversary of the first episode of Discovery, the beginning of the current era of Star Trek. So
the rebirth.
All right, rounding out the weekend on Sunday, there is a panel on Monsters at Work on Disney. Sneak peek of season 2 screening. The return of Good Burger on Paramount Plus gets discussed also on Sunday. That would be isn't that Keenan and Kel?
Yeah, Key and Kel.
Not
Key and Peele.
Keenan, who would still be on SNL. Boy, yes. I wonder, that's one of those. I wonder is SNL going to make a comeback? I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Being off the air. I mean, they can come back very quickly, though. That's the good thing. They write scripts in a week, so it's over. Boom, they're back.
They're back. Then same thing with Colbert and all those other late night shows. Percy Jackson and the Olympians not on Disney Plus. Not something I've ever really been into, but I know April's read the books. There's a whole generation.
My son was a big fan of the movies, and I've heard this one's going to be the writer's actually involved in this one, so it will be. I think someone in our Discord group was also a big fan of the series and talked about. They're very excited for this, so I think it looked pretty good what I saw of the trailer.
Yeah. Gotcha. And that's the schedule. So you know what? Kudos to them for kind of keeping hope alive. But it looks like a lot of animated stuff, and just again with programming starting to kind of wind down. This is kind of what they've got, and it'll be very interesting getting into 2024 to see when they'll have stuff to talk about again and what it will be. So it's very interesting. So anyway, that is a show that I know our mutual friend, my best buddy from high school, Louis Sabong, has gone to in the past. And like I said, New York Comic Con is one of the big ones. So Javits Center in New York City, October 12th through 15. Enjoy. And if you go and want to give us a little blow by blow on X/Twitter or over on our Discord, we would enjoy seeing it.
Yeah, share your photos, give us your impressions, and if you are really excited about something you saw, hit us up and maybe we can talk to you about it on the show. But something I want to talk about, Charlie, is very interesting. There's a series that I have loved. Actually went to a mini-con down in Rochester, Minnesota. It was very weird, just for this thing, and that's called Fables.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Bill Willingham created Fables in 2002. He's made over 160 issues. There's been spin-offs, video games, and such. And Fables is the story essentially, what if the characters you knew from fantasy and the fairy tales were real and were living amongst us? So if you think that sounds familiar, you're thinking of Once Upon a Time, which this predated Once Upon a Time by about 8 years. So there actually, I think there was a lawsuit involved, but it's all public domain characters, and it's really hard to prove that. But apparently, Fables was a Vertigo comic. Vertigo doesn't exist anymore, but now it's all folded into DC.
Gotcha. Okay.
And because of that, apparently once Vertigo went to DC is kind of less friendly than Vertigo was, and they've kind of mistreated Bill Willingham from his side of the story. We only have that. And he's like, his books are getting released late, payment, sharing of revenue on like the video game. There's a new video game coming out that he apparently wasn't even involved in. And it's basically causing a lot of frustration with him in DC. And he said, essentially, because of my age and the amount of money it would cost to fight DC, I'm opening all of my characters and everything to public domain.
Oh, if you can't beat them, give him the middle finger. Wow, that's not even. It's not even if you can't beat him, join him. Yeah, but then DC wins, but then again, he just gets to not be battle with them anymore, right? If it becomes public domain, it means DC can use them. Yeah.
Well, so this is the hard part. It's like DC apparently owns the property. When the deal was made, Bill Willingham actually doesn't own any of this anymore. So DC is basically saying
pay for play. Yeah,
you can say whatever you want, but it doesn't mean it's true. And so, but I think Bill Willingham, what he's trying to do is stir the pot, so people start thinking, "Oh, I can just make a project. Netflix, I can make a series," and then DC is just going to have litigation everywhere across the board. And I would hope this means that DC would come back to the table and say, "Hey, we realize we made a mistake. Let's fix this." I don't think they will. I think they're going to, it's going to be like, Donnie Trump. He brings in his lawyers and it scares people to shit and they just walk away. So,
but better yet, I think I won't.
Exactly. So, I mean, this is scary. So I don't know what's going to mean. There's going to be more properties coming out. DC could continue to tell stories. I just think it puts the fans like me in a very negative space, because I went to the Fables Con. It was great. It was a really cool idea to do one property like a Star Wars, Star Trek, but in a smaller vein, a smaller community. People showed up. They had a good time. They loved it. It was a great. It was a great just community event. But it was only once, and I'd hate to see if he wasn't involved. I mean, obviously, we know creators in comic books have been treated like crap.
Kind of like writers and actors. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, but comic books, even though, I mean, look how much money has projects that like Jack Kirby was involved in, that he created. And he doesn't see a dime from movies, everything.
He's dead, so that's difficult.
Well, his family, exactly. Whoever. But exactly. And we hear about
the money is just like Disney's like, it's that, it's that meme of Dave Chappelle as Puff Daddy, where he's just sitting there wearing the crown, holding all the money. that's Disney.
Exactly.
I like money.
You can't sample my stuff. Oh,
exactly. Oh my goodness. Well, good for you. I mean, such a niche con, you know what I mean? But I mean, it's great that things like that exist, because fandom should be accessible to everyone, and they should be allowed to have fun with things that they dig. So I love that. All right, moving on to something that a lot of people dig, though obviously not in the action figure world, which we'll talk about in a little while. Guillermo del Toro, the famous
I got this one,
horror
Charlie.
director. Oh, my bad. You see? Well, you see? You told me to skip, so I'm just going to sit back and drink my water. Wait. You know what? I'll drink water, and you can speak in my voice. It'll be like a, what do they call those? A mannequin.
Yeah, we're trying to do some assigned stories here, so there's a little bit more of a flow here. So a new story is coming out based on the subject of the creation, and that is Guillermo del Toro. He was attached to direct a Star Wars movie, and now more is coming out. He's spilling the tea, as they would say, and because of that, we found out that Guillermo del Toro posted on Twitter, or actually Josh Horowitz had an interview with David Goyer, who is a writer. He says David Goyer wrote a Star Wars movie to be directed by Guillermo del Toro that we'll never see. And then Guillermo del Toro tweeted back, said, "True. Can't say much more. Maybe 2 letters, J and BB. Is that 3 letters?" His quote. So I don't know who the J is, but this then brings out the fact that yes, Guillermo del Toro was supposed to partner with David Goyer to create a Star Wars film as recently as 2019. And the scriptment, as they would call it, was 4 years ago that they created, and it took 25,000 years before the first film. If that sounds familiar, it's because there is going to be a Star Wars project that takes place 25,000 years in the past,
but not him,
but not by him. So
oh,
I don't know if it was Disney said we want to do this, and we're just going to get people to try their script treatment for it and see which one works. Because if you would hate it if they came up with the idea and pitched it and then just said, "Thank you for your idea. We own that now." We're going to find somebody else.
That's exactly what we were talking about. Like, hey, you created Wolverine. Cool. Thank you. We're not giving you any more money. Oh,
yeah. So is Jay Jabba, Jar Jar, Jedi?
Jeddah, Jeddah, which planet from Rogue One. Yeah, I don't know.
And who's the BB? Is it BB-8? Is it a spinoff? It's like he was there from the beginning. He experienced it all, Charlie.
BB2, BB King, Bebe's kids. I don't know. It could be any one of those things. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, you know what, Todd? It's what they say. It ain't show friends. It's show business.
Yeah. It is curious though, because we kept hearing about all of these like projects that have been pitched, all these famous people that have been involved, and as of right now, at the rate we're going, Charlie, the last Star Wars film was what year?
2019. Yeah.
So we potentially could be another 6-7 years between films.
I don't see how it could be anything but, because even if things come roaring back and they roll camera on a script next year, assuming the script ends or the strike ends, which it has to eventually, God would imagine, that typical window for production of a Star Wars film is 2 or 3 years. So that's 3 or 4 years right there at bare minimum.
I wonder. No wonder Bob Iger is so mad. He's like, "Hey, I was promised a Star Wars film every year under our contract."
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, the best laid plans. My. So, all right. Do I get this next one now? Am I following the plan? Oh God. Okay.
Nope. You get the last one.
I get the last. Oh, so you have 3 in the middle. Fine.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. So, next story is that the streaming wars are still going on, and it's really streaming money out of our pockets is really what it's coming down to.
It's a steady stream of your money.
Exactly. So we're finding out now that Amazon Prime, which most people pay for the shipping, the music, whatever,
right?
It's increasing in price. I don't know if it's as good of a value as it was when it was only $70 a year. Now that it's double the price, and the fact that it just promotes probably ordering more crap you probably don't need, or you could probably get it slower and you'd be fine too. Amazon Prime, as part of their Prime TV service. Now this is interesting, Charlie. I don't know of anybody who just pays for Prime Video, because you can.
No,
and it's
I've never met anybody who does.
It's like $18 a month. Yeah.
Oh, but which places it close to the top end, because the Disney Hulu bundle is that up to 25 now? Is that where they're headed? 22?
It's 20 for Hulu and Disney Plus now. The ESPN Plus is not part of that. You can get the triple, and I think that's 25. But yeah, for anyone who does, I can't believe anybody would pay that much for it, to be honest, because there's just not enough new stuff.
Well, I mean,
and that's completed with HBO Max. Yeah, HBO Max I think is still the highest, then maybe Netflix or vice versa.
Right, and this goes on to mention that they really only have a handful of pieces of original programming, and then the rest of it is bits and pieces of old shows, which I enjoy from time to time. It's the thing that April and I do, where it's like right now we're watching Better Call Saul, but I'm like, let's take a break, let's watch a movie, so we kind of slow down. So we play what I affectionately now refer to as streaming service roulette. I pick one, and then we scroll through what movies are here. And so what are the basics? Disney Plus almost always gets left off because they just have Disney stuff and we just don't watch it. But it's you look at Max, you look at Prime, you look at Peacock. I found something on Peacock. I watched an old movie last night from 2008 that starred George Clooney, Renee Zellweger, and John Krasinski, which I had never heard of, about footballers in the 1920s. Does that movie sound familiar to you? You see what I mean?
What's the name again?
I know. I was asking you if you had ever heard of it.
Oh, the football movie with George Clooney. Yeah. Was that?
Okay.
Yeah. I've heard of that. Yeah.
It was, you know what,
deal.
and it was fun, but it was from 2008, and I had never heard of it. It was weird, but
I lied. It's $15 a month, not $18.
Oh, okay, but but that's a very nichey kind of thing to be like, yeah, I want to watch an old movie. There are people like you, Todd, who don't care about that kind of thing. There are people who, like my friend Tamara, who's like, well, I keep cable because I like to flip channels. There is no happy medium for what streaming looks like to certain people. So and then we have people like our friend John, who would rather take an arrow to the eye socket than watch an ad on TV. Then
the good news is you can get that option almost every service now, because every service has added ads, and that's really the premise of this story, is the fact that Amazon Prime Video is adding ads in 2024, and they will gladly charge you $3 more per month
to not have it.
To not have ads. And they said their ads though will be the least intrusive, and they'll be better. And I've seen, I think Hulu was the worst, as far as I remember, for just like, holy crap, it's an ad like every 10 minutes. And it's ultimately like, it's 5 of the ads that you've seen already 5 times. It's like, it drives you insane.
Yeah, it's that way. The one, I have mentioned this before, but the one local streaming service, or streaming anything that we tune into, is one of the local TV stations. That is the station that I grew up watching because my mom worked there, Fox 17, the Fox affiliate here in Grand Rapids. But they've gotten better. But it used to be like they have a streaming ad break, and it's the same spot 5 times back to back to back, which this applies to people who hate the ad so much. Just push the mute button on your remote and look at your phone for upwards of 3 minutes.
Nobody enjoys that though, Charlie. I know that. I know. Yeah. In modern times, DVRs you could fast forward, like a lot of shows we have, stuff we have is streaming. But live content, you totally get. You totally get live content.
But again, the mute button is your friend if it really drives you that mad. Save yourself the money. But it's absolutely a matter of personal preference. There is no gold standard to the way people really feel about it. Me, like I said, I grew up in the advertising world. I worked in the advertising world. Ads and shit don't bother me. As a matter of fact, sometimes I really like them because it lets me know what the hell's going on in the world of entertainment, or new drugs for new drugs for fighting obesity or whatever, and all the side effects.
It's just a weird when they change the terms of what you've agreed to, right? It's not like, oh, we always had a plan, we had 2 plans, and yours is just getting more expensive. It's essentially they're saying, oh, by the way, that thing you signed up for that you're currently paying for, by the way, we're going to change it again and going to get more money out of you. So it's a little bit underhanded in that purpose versus, hey, we have 2 plans. They never always had 2 plans. So,
well, how's Jeff Bezos going to afford that next, wiener-shaped rocket to get to space? He's got to have 2.
There better be ads on that damn rocket, because then he can pay for it himself. Yeah.
Exactly. I paid for it. My name better be on that rocket. I want my spot. Oh my goodness.
It becomes a tipping point to a lot of people. It gets to a point where it's like Prime is something where people are used to, and it made sense. It was X. Now it's like, it's double than it was. And I mean, is it worth it for the free shipping? And a lot of times they've reduced, or they increased the length of time you actually get the product in. So I'm like, maybe I don't need crap that fast. Maybe it's not good for the environment to have many trucks. And maybe it's just, order something, wait a week for it to show up.
Todd reduces his carbon footprint. Okay, well, speaking of carbon footprint and a lot of plastic, Hasbro had their PulseCon over on Pulse, which is where you get their figures from. On Friday afternoon, I got to tune into just the last portion of it, which was the G.I. Joe stuff, because that's what I still collect. And I got to kind of listen to it and occasionally glance at it because I was on a long haul as usual. And I had my phone kind of propped and was driving down a country road. So I was like, I could listen to it and occasionally and here's a blah, 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 this and that. And I could glance down on it. I'm like, all right, I'll just watch it later. But anyway, tons of product reveals. The ones that we're going to touch upon that are relevant to us. And of course, there are other brands such as Transformers and Power Rangers that I'm not involved in. Todd, I know you're a Transformers guy, but you are even more, you don't really do a lot of Hasbro stuff though, right? Isn't the stuff you seek out kind of other higher end statuettes?
So Hasbro partners with Takara in Japan.
Yeah.
They typically are the one that creates all the designs, all those things, and then they bring them over to the US so that they make a masterpiece line that Hasbro often sells as well separately, but Takara makes the Masterpiece brands, which essentially are the way the Transformers you expected them to look. They're more detailed, they transform and more accurate. But quite honestly, now Hasbro has done a great job with their standard line, which they call Generations, and now they look really good. And it's like, maybe I don't need to spend $200 on that Transformer. I can spend $50 and get my Starscream like my wife got for me, and I'm perfectly fine with it. I don't care about scale. They're damn toys. Yeah. I mean, it's not worth an extra $130.
I totally gotcha. And plus the way you have your stuff set up, it's a little bit more varied than mine. But I have been a big Hasbro guy. First, we were all Hasbro guys as kids because it was Hasbro or Kenner. But Hasbro gave us G.I. Joe. Hasbro has given us, the Marvel Legends line in the last 15 years. But since 2020, they've given us the G.I. Joe Classified series. It's a 12th scale or 6-inch. And to my regard, this is the line of the three that I collect that is thriving, because for Star Wars, for example, all that they revealed were 2 figures in the current Ahsoka series. You had the Ray Stevenson character, and you have the Billie Eilish Evil Jedi, and those were the only 2, which is weird as an offering that's all that they had. Over in Marvel, there was a line based around the Spider-Man No Way Home that had the 3 Spideys. You had your Andy Garfield, who the hell was the first guy?
Toby?
Toby, thank you. And then, of course, Tom, which was previously a 3-pack. Now they broke down some other characters from that series, probably quasi off my own personal radar, because I do Spider-Man, but I don't do everything. But the G.I. Joe line, and again, this was the one that I watched, is kind of thriving, because when they started the line, they're like, we're going to modernize, and here's a different version of Duke, and here's a different version of Scarlet, and people are lukewarm on it, but they still bought it. If that makes any sense to you, that's kind of how figure collectors work. I'm going to bitch about it, but I got to have it.
They're addicted.
Yeah, exactly.
Term, right?
But if you look, and Todd, if you look at some of these renders, because they had pipeline reveals, name only, they had some renders, and they had some pre-orders, of which I did a few when I got home. The digital reveals are really spot on. You have, I tend to stick, when I collect, to really the early stuff. I like the 82 through the 85 series. That's my own personal preference. And we got some nice drops from that range. Quick Kick, who's a martial artist, Airborne, who is an airborne trooper, a new deco of Rakondo, who is a jungle guy previously released, a new Duke, a new Scarlet, Mutton Junkyard, which is great. I love it when they were talking about it. You have Junkyard, that was the K9 and the handler. Junkyard is the dog. You have him with the mean face, and they kept saying the good boy face. I love this team, and I've reached out to our associate Patrick, who works at Hasbro, and say, please introduce me to these G.I. Joe guys. I would absolutely love to talk to them. Patrick, if you're listening, please, I would love to meet the G.I. Joe guys. You consider it a personal favor. But anyway, and then the 3 that I picked upon, and again, I kind of dip outside of that 82, 85 range. General Hawk is kind of an exception. It's an original character who got a redeco in 86, so I grabbed that. But then the first 2 of the Dreadnoks, which were the classic evil biker characters that backed up Zartan, who is the master of disguise, who's one of the core Cobra characters. And then, there are a few bits and pieces, other ninja characters and stuff that just doesn't really do it for me. But again, to look at the renders, Todd, I assume you're looking at them now. I mean, I'm impressed. I think they do nice work. They've done nice work with this line.
Yeah, it's a cool line. I mean, it's essentially, if they could have looked like they did, it's kind of like that. Like I said, it's just like the Masterpiece line or whatever, where it's like, oh, they finally look the way I wanted them to look when I was a kid. They finally have some justice. It's funny, Charlie, because you were talking, they go off the deep end. I'm like, Quick Kick wasn't weird enough. You got a guy with no shoes on, no shirt, wearing a basically a sash with none shirt. I'm like, G.I. Joe was never serious to begin with. It's the wackier the better. It's crazy. Go nuts.
And I love this. I love the character's introduction, which was in the third miniseries, which kicked off the regular series, was fall of 1985. When that character was introduced, 2 other characters who were new that year was Alpine and Bazooka, were in the Arctic, and Quick Kick shows up to save them, still wearing no shirt, no shoes in the Arctic. But yes, okay, so I got you there. But yeah, for me, 85 was kind of things were weird enough, and then it just got, in 86 you got Sergeant Slaughter, in 87 you got the Fridge, you had Cobra Law with the snakes, and the guy, the snake dude voiced by Burgess Meredith, G.I. Joe the movie, Globulus, and Nemesis Enforcer, and it just got it was weird, but it was too weird.
So weird, so awesome. I loved it.
I hear you. But anyway, I love those. Anyway, if you're a figure guy like me, those pre-orders, of course, Hasbro wants you to buy it from them. So it's some of the stuff. There was an exclusive pre-order that was a 3-pack of the Crimson Twins, which are Tomax and Zaymont, the commanders of the Crimson Guard, with a redeco of the Baroness. That was an exclusive. I didn't get it because those are all repaints, and I already have those. That was an exclusive. The other stuff, generally speaking, a lot of it you can find it on Amazon, which I get points for doing it, so I went and pre-ordered those. Looks like the newest line of stuff is going to be out in time for Christmas, so a Christmas gift to yourself. There's always the joke on these GI Joe groups I belong to that, help, I'm looking for a Cobra Commander figure for my son, can you help me out with a reasonable price? Kids don't collect figures anymore. Forget about it.
Yes, my kid
yes. Wants it.
Because that new line of that new GI Joe cartoon has got the kids all a buzz. Oh wait.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes. GI Joe is a great example of a property that has nothing to support it right now except for the figures, and they're doing a nice job, and they are very popular, despite some of the less popular ones you end up seeing at Ollie's or discount places, which are great troop builders. I've been doing a lot of that myself. Anyway, okay, that takes us out of the news. Todd, time to get out that Fuber app, that Feeble Uber app, to get us down to Scugtown, Nastyville. The Geekeasy awaits, where we talk about things we're digging. So let's do it.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geekeasy, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So, Charlie, little dirty secret of mine is there's a bunch of movies I've never seen, and they keep building up on my list of things I need to watch. I love comedies, but I have I've always said, like, oh, I'll see the comedy, not in the theater. I'll see it when it comes, to home video. And just I miss it. So, like, I'm building a list of movies I gotta get.
There's just too much stuff. Yeah. And I know this one that you saw, because this was one we saw in the theater, and it is super dumb fun. Really enjoyed it, but it is super dumb.
Yeah, that movie is Popstar. Don't Stop Popping. This is
No. Don't stoppin'. You got
okay.
that's what it's called. Yes, but Don't Stop Poppin' is not. That's not so far off.
Yeah, I've changed it for my own needs. But
Why
yeah,
not?
this is The Lonely Island, Andy Samberg, Jorma, and the other dude.
Keeve. Jorma and Keeve.
Like
one
their
of their
names even.
One of their songs from their wonderful album from back in 2011 popped up on my rotation. It was this one there where they're just talking about Lonely Island. They're just like talking about, I got hepatitis from a horse, but don't have no confusion. It wasn't from the sex. It was a blood transfusion. Lonely Island.
Yeah. It's essentially that as them as a pop band, the Style Boys.
Yeah.
It's it's that classic like VH1 behind the music. So it's just. This movie was a ton of fun. It's cameo fest. It is the songs really make you laugh. And I always turn on the closed caption just because I want to see what the lyrics actually are. So it's great. Yeah. They mix different genres. I love who they got to come on just to basically be like, when you see a documentary, they'll have the people like talk about it and give their context to it. I mean, you got who's of everybody out there. Usher's in it, Method Man, I think some other folks are in this, and it's just great. It's a classic tale of basically everything's good until it all came crashing down.
It's
no drugs in this one. They didn't have like somebody.
Movie.
Yeah, it's not like Molly Crew. Somebody did an overdose of heroin. You did have him pass out on a what are they called? The hoverboards. It catches on fire, and he's just got his head down the street.
Oh my God!
Just very fun movie. I really enjoy it. So my next one's going to be Step Brothers. I've never seen Step Brothers.
Really? Now
no.
I had never discovered that one until it was about 5 years ago. I was working. It's actually a family friend guy named John Blizzard, who's a buddy of mine who is from April's hometown. They grew up together. Turned me on to that movie, and it's a very classic. Speaking of Will Ferrell, it was one of the first things to put Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. I cannot believe you haven't seen that. It's a hoot.
I know all of the like catchphrases and all the memes and everything.
I mean, it's a hoot, but it's no different than Anchorman. It's the same thing. Things are high, things are low, then things are high again.
I started it off. Yeah.
I mean, I love this Popstar deal because it's basically an SNL movie because you get Maya Rudolph, you have Vanessa Vanessa Bayer is in it for a little while. Isn't she
The one
a girlfriend
new,
or somebody?
the one actually, you know, they typically have one new black guy every once in a while. He's in it too.
Chris Red,
Yes,
or
Chris Red's in it.
or a couple of black guys back.
Exactly. It's not Keenan. It's the
Oh
one
my
that
God.
typically doesn't make it. But yeah, it's great. Totally check it out, and it's even got like alumni too with the was it
Is
it's
Tina
in
Fey in it?
everything.
Oh.
Tina Fey is not in it, but that's okay.
Maybe
Um,
Horatio Sands, or just
no,
anyway.
he wasn't in there. No, Tim Meadows was the
Tim
manager.
Meadows.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
was great in it too.
Tim Meadows has even been in Star Wars, but who hasn't in this day and age?
Exactly. Yeah. So check that out. It's very funny. I think it was on Hulu is where I saw it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's free, and I was on my exercise bike my elliptical between the Bear season 2 and It's Only Murders in Buildings. So I'm like, I need something in between.
There you go.
And that's what I picked. So I'll have another movie in
Nice.
there and go from
I
there.
love it.
So then
Good stuff.
we got Charlie. I'm sure we both saw this that people are talking about.
Did
which is
we?
Ahsoka episode 6. Normally we wouldn't talk about every episode as they come out, but because you guys aren't doing it on Holocron yet.
Now that you mention it, Mark and I have reached an accord. Ahsoka coverage will start this week.
Oh no! Mark crossed the picket line.
Well, he had mentioned to me that he was very exuberant about the season, and then we had some long conversations about it. If you hadn't been up on it, Mark had felt very strongly about the SAG-AFTRA strike. He has a lot of friends in the industry, and it kind of tilted him in that direction. I, as his co-chair, was in complete support of whatever he chose to do. But when he mentioned that, I engaged him in conversation about it, and we said, okay, fine, let's do it. But we'll start. This will give us, we're going to start with episodes 1 and 2. So that you will hear on Holocron the Wednesday, potentially the day after you hear this, because the show comes out on Tuesday. You will hear Mark and I talking about Ahsoka episodes 1 and 2, potentially with a guest. Mark usually surprises me with a guest. Sure. So Mark is, I have a lot of respect for Mark. He's got a lot going on, but usually I'll hear from him the morning of and be like, hey, what are we doing for the show tonight?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Mark is off doing his own thing, and we're like, hey, are we doing co mode? Yep, let's go.
We'll do whatever it takes. But anyway, so
that's good to hear that you guys are going to do that, because ultimately we are not like people that are influencers. We aren't getting people we are promoting like the strike and all these things. So I think we're doing our part beyond that, but we should be able to talk about things we love, and we're not like making a huge amount of money except for the people that support this show. And I know they would love to hear our thoughts on the show. So maybe not mine, but you're going to hear it anyways.
You bet.
So Ahsoka episode 6 is, Charlie, I feel like the first episode where we finally got some momentum. Like, we're finally getting to the end game, but we're getting it before the season is done, which is great.
Right. Because we have two episodes left after this. It's an 8 episode run, if I'm not mistaken. And it was funny. I was having this conversation not only with our mutual friend John, our third secret friends, who, without hyperbole, cannot stand the show, absolutely hates it, just because he just feels it to be very dry. And I hate to speak for him, but simply the conversations we've had just clearly feels that it's very dry. It doesn't really feel very big or to scale for him. But as we were talking, as he said, I don't know if he said it to both of us or said it to me privately, he said, this was the first episode of the show that I kind of enjoyed. Maybe it's because Ahsoka really wasn't in it for more than 3 minutes, because it was.
He put that in the Discord, actually. He said this is the first good season. I think you even added that. Yeah, because I think Ahsoka doesn't bring any energy to the show. She is essentially very mellow, and once again, she's not bringing the same Ahsoka that we knew in those shows, which I'm fine. Characters change and things.
Well, you're right, exactly.
But her presence isn't really impressive to me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, she's doing cosplay.
And it's really not blowing things up the way that this episode. So if you're following it, obviously, and spoilers if you're not, but I would imagine that you're listening, where we left off in the end of episode 5, we had the bad guys on their way to parts unknown. Ahsoka was able to hitch a ride on one of the space whales, and she and the David Tennant robot, which that's what they called him over on Weekly Planet. So this is what I'm going to call him, the David Tennant robot. They're having a chit chat, and then the rest of the episode has to do with the bad guys' arrival at the far off planet. They go down, and then what happens when they go down to the planet? That is.
So when they go down, essentially we finally get a reunion, which is great, of Sabine Wren and Ezra. Ezra doesn't look like he's claymation anymore, which is great. He actually looks like he's
I
finally
think,
gone through puberty for the first time, which is great.
I think they nailed it, and he would probably be about 20. I'm thinking, because if he's 15-ish when Rebel started, it was on for 4 or 5 years. This is 10 years after essentially episode 4. So he would be about 30 years old. What did I just say? 30 years old. He'd be about 30.
You said 20 before, and I'm like, yeah, I think he was probably closer to, he's probably 25, 30 years old.
Yeah,
now.
so he'd be 25, 30 years old. Yeah, there you go. So,
yeah.
How did you feel about the live action portrayal of Thrawn? I was not impressed, to be honest with you.
Felt a little bit off. Like it was almost like they caked on too much makeup. Didn't look very natural to me.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's the same voice actor playing him in reality, which
right.
Hey, they look pretty close to each other, you know?
Yeah.
Just a guy with blue makeup and black hair and red eyes, right?
I felt like it was my joke to John. I said, I think he's been enjoying the rations a bit much. He didn't look like he fit in the uniform. The belt was kind of like ornamental popped out. And so, I mean, hey, we all age, but, and he would be obviously 10 years older.
Is he Tobias from Arrested Development?
Yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly. It didn't really do it for me. But again, live, and I'm drawing a blank. He's a Chiss, I think is the name of the race.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember if we've seen another one in live action that's like if he's typical.
The Blue Man Group.
Of the Blue Man Group. So yeah, so I don't know. I wasn't really wowed by him, but again, Todd, I'm left with the same thoughts. Like, how is he going to be this big game changer when he comes back? Because he shows up in his Star Destroyer, which obviously he's been putzing around with all these years. But it kind of, said to John, it looks like a '72 Pinto. It's just it looks like it's falling apart.
Yeah,
and all his stormtroopers, they're kind of cultish. Their armor's painted up weird. The one guy, my favorite meme I found that I posted on our Discord was his captain of the guard kind of looks like the Burger King because he put a face on his mask.
Yeah, Enoch is his name, and there is I was looking into this a little bit more because Thrawn does say to the Night Sisters and says, "I need your night magic once again." So there's thoughts that this might be like an undead stormtrooper army because in this world, I don't know how you feed that many people. It doesn't look like they're getting crops. I don't know how long you can keep a Star Destroyer filled with rations and things like that. And so they're going to, obviously it sounds like he's going to use the night magic again to take on Ahsoka, do something. But once again, I mean, my question, Charlie, is who filled him in on all the fun details of, oh, by the way, the Emperor and Vader are both dead? Enjoy.
Without a doubt, it was SpaceX Twitter. Somebody was live tweeting the Battle of Endor, and it got all the way across to another galaxy.
Yeah, so I'm just confused. What one big ship with a guy who obviously is a tactical genius. He is competent, and with Night Sisters, obviously that helps him a little bit on the Force side of the world that was missing. But I just, once again, unless he knew this was all part of a plan, like I'm going to bring back the Emperor if he ever dies, I'm going to do this stuff. But obviously they accomplished it without him. But maybe it would have taken less time if Thrawn came back. But once again, I just don't know what one more Star Destroyer does except for rally the forces that already lost anyways.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
I'm curious, but I tell Sabine is definitely the standout of this. She definitely brings energy. She's challenged, and she got some pretty decent action sequences as well.
Yeah, no, this was not. This did have that nice, in the wilderness fighting with cubs. We got another cutesy creature that April was excited about, the little rock snail thingies. That was cute. So,
suits.
Yes, exactly. We will, you'll be hearing about, we'll be ramping this up over on Holocron. So please tune in for Mark and Mai's combined take on episodes 1 and 2 this upcoming week. All right. Well, let's keep it rolling. I'll do some quick hits. We watched there's not a lot to say about the stuff, but we finally got around to, it's funny. I kept an email in my inbox to remind me this was out here that I got like 2 weeks ago. There's a season 2 of the I Am Groot shorts over on Disney Plus, like 3-minute shorts, and these are they're kind of nonsensical. Groot finds a robot nose. Groot makes a killer snowman or stuff. It's just funsy stuff that you have you enjoy watching. Have you checked them out yet?
I think I watched the first one. Yeah, they're just cute. They're little shorts.
It's
They're
cute.
fun.
I like it. It's for the kids. So those are enjoyable. And again, whether they're canon or not, who knows? Who cares? It's a good time. So if you're not tuned in
For the kids.
It's all for the kids. Todd, I was telling you earlier this week with lunch, I have a few digital comics left over from the big purge that happened when the G.I. Joe license went away. It's coming back with IDW Skybound. Or is it Image? Image Skybound comes back in.
Skybound, well, because Skybound is Robert Kirkman's imprint, but he's the president of Image, essentially. So
gotcha.
It's Image prints it, does all the distribution, but it's his imprint on Image.
So anyway, this is coming back, but at some point I had snagged this in addition to some of the older volumes I've been reading that I ran out and I've had to go out and find print copies to keep reading. But this was a one-shot produced back in 2016 called G.I. Joe Deviations. And again, I don't have all of the details, and I'm not sure if you can actually read it, but you could potentially find it in your comic shops out there. But it was a little one-off in the spirit of the cartoon that would have been, what if Cobra won and conquered the world? And it was just a very satirical take. Cobra Island, turns into this basically kind of an amusement park. The Baroness and Destro settle down, and he becomes a house husband, raising their little babies. And there's just a handful
of
kids
have like metal heads.
Oh yes, those are genetic. Didn't you know?
Oh yeah.
And the remaining Joes, of which there's like 5 of them, stage a counter-strike back to Cobra Island. And some of it is just in good fun. So, and again, but I'm hoping that these digital properties come back into existence in November, December, when the license rolls on over. But I just don't know which.
If I base it on the Buffy series, they don't. Those are
just
old. They are not brought forward. That part of the deal. It's the license, not the old. It's like why you have certain you don't have certain things from different publishers come forward because they just they don't own the artwork and things like that.
Right. So that's why as I'm going out there trying to find these if I can. So anyway, but it was a fun read and I'd recommend it. Finally, something new that is legit and easy to find from IDW is the Star Trek comics keep marching on. I do read them. I'm a little slow on the uptake. They've had some good stories lately. They've had some that I haven't been crazy about, but this is kind of a fun take, and thankfully it was kind of visually faithful to the era that it's supposed to be. But it's a tale of Starfleet Academy based on Captain Picard. So it's, almost 100 years in the past of the current Star Trek Picard timeline. But you're seeing Picard, and again, a satirical take, you're seeing Picard as a very serious, I think, a second-year student. There are some references to characters we know from TNG, like Boothby.
Is this like Police Academy with Star Trek?
A little bit, but it's like he's like a Rick Moranis kind of character. And it's there's a party on campus, but Picard won't go because he wants to study. And he kind of gets forced.
And he's a drinking buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So he does. He has, he's the second to top student, but the top student is this very handsome, dark-skinned Betazoid character with big, beautiful hair. It's just, it's fun. It was a fun book. So I did enjoy watching that. Again, available in your comic shops or on Comixology and Comixology Unlimited. Worth checking out. I had fun reading it. So, but yeah, I do all my comic reading during lunch on my tablet, or if I kind of make myself when I'm home, I will read, for an hour or so before bed, and that's about it. So it's just, you got to make the time. The stupid idiot box, the TV is too much of a lure, sucks you in.
Absolutely.
So anyway, yeah. All right. Well, cool. Well, that is it for the Geek Easy Todd. It's Air Qantas time. Got to get out that app. Hologram Tina and the mutants await to hear us talk about what's gonna be on TV for the last ever season of television in our fall TV guide preview. Indeed. So let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Thank you, Tina. The mutants been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained, and this week we're talking about what you can watch this fall on TV, all the streaming services and the limited network services that will be there for your watching pleasure. So with that, Charlie, I found a list from Boston.com. Weird place to find it, but they had the deets.
like Boston the town?
It's apparently,
I guess.
Apparently,
yeah,
it's like, yeah.
Is there anything else that's called Boston? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm sure it's like their variety magazine or something like that.
Sure.
We have one in
Why
we have the
not?
Twin Cities magazine as well that talks about all the things that you can do entertainment wise. So we're going to
Right.
go through
Yes,
this
yes, yes.
list. Going through things that we won't talk about things that are already out, but we'll hit on the things that are going to be coming as of, let's see. Oh, we'll start with September 20th. Even though it happened, it has a show that I don't know if we talked about, and that is American Horror Story.
Oh my
Season
gosh.
12, Charlie.
We keep meaning to jump back in to watch it because, again, it's one of those you got to remember it's on, or you got to put it in the TV app thingy that reminds you, which I didn't do. But yeah, it's because you can watch that on Hulu for those of you who don't have terrestrial cable, which
Correct.
is everybody. But we have always enjoyed that show. I cannot believe it's been on for 10 years or 11 years that it has a 12th season. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, this one's got Kim Kardashian's actually going to be in it as an actress, which is interesting. But this one deals with it's the first season that's actually based on a book that just came out. And it's all about pregnancy, and it has themes of spiders, which could be really crazy because as a human, knowing that spider babies might be inside of you would be kind of scary. So that is out now.
You know the spider babies are inside those Beanie Babies.
Beanie Babies, exactly. Where do they go after, Charlie? They make the spiders, but then the spiders got to go elsewhere to make more babies. So they go to humans.
No.
Yes, yeah. So that comes out weekly. So check it out if you're interested in something spooky and scary. The Continental from the world of John Wick, that actually premiered on Friday. I believe it's a 3-part series, so very short. And it's got mixed reviews, the best way to put it. But I will watch it because I'm curious to see the world of the Continental before those times. Charlie, and we have Capropolis. So basically, the Fox animated series are coming out now, finally. And this is going to be part of that Fox animated series on Sunday. So check it out. I've enjoyed the Fox series. So hopefully this one is good and picks up over time.
Awesome.
Then moving on, I'm going through the list, finding things that aren't The Bachelor related or related.
Or the Bold and the Beautiful was one of them.
Yeah, we go to next week though, Charlie. Gen V. This is the new, this is the basically the boys spinoff in college. This is kids that go to a university like Xavier's School for Gifted Children, and hijinks ensue. There'll be going to be sex, drugs, and lots of blood,
exploding bits. All right, I'll jump in and take on.
Charlie, I want to mention one show that I don't know what it is, but I love the name. It's called Interrupting Chicken, and it's on Apple TV Plus.
No, Todd, it's this. Todd, knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting Cow.
Interrupting Cow.
Boo! my beloved late son Parker. That was his favorite knock knock joke.
Okay,
so
very good.
But anyway, okay, jumping into October, we got a boom on October 1st of the Animation Domination returning Simpsons season 35. My God, what was the last season of The Simpsons that you watched even 2 episodes?
Oh, probably season. I watch episodes every season because there's always good ones within it.
Oh my God!
People say it was better when I was young.
No, for me, it's not that. I guess I just need somebody to remind me that it's on. So maybe I'll rely on you for that.
Charlie, it's The Simpsons.
It will never. They'll never stop The Simpsons. I mean, I love classic Simpsons.
It goes to Disney Plus now, right? After the season's wrapped, they go to Disney Plus. Okay,
but it's on. Hulu. Okay, but it's on. Is it on Hulu during the season?
I believe so.
Well, just keep. Well, where do you watch it, or don't you remember? Just wherever.
I think it's on Hulu.
All right. Yeah. Well, just remind. You know what? I'll make this commitment. I'll watch it if you help me remember. Bob's Burgers. That's your stuff. For season 14, and Family Guy is season 22. Family Guy. That the train sailed for a long time.
Still watch it.
Yeah, on that one. So, Jack Osborne is still around. Night of Terror on the Travel Channel. Okie dokie.
Yeah, that's a show that's kind of fun. I mean, he's an interesting guy, and he's into the supernatural. So I've seen a couple of those with the wife.
I had no idea. That's weird. Let's see here. Chucky is back on October the 4th.
You skipped over Fright Crew, Charlie. That's a new animated series on Hulu. It's going to be. I saw a trailer, and actually, it's pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I'll take your word for it. Something called Lupin on October 5th on Netflix. Lupin, I would assume, is werewolf related.
Yep. And you missed another show, Charlie. You're a
Stop it.
Season 2. I love the first season. It was actually canceled, and they reversed the decision. Season 2 is going to be out. I love the show. It's got alumni from Schitt's Creek. It's got the daughter who ran the cafe, and the handsome guy with the beard.
Yes, a handsome guy with a beard. Hey, maybe I'll finally watch this one. Our Flag Means Death. Season 2 starts on October
Oh,
5th.
season 1 was great. I didn't know they were making a season 2, but it
Oh
is
my
really,
goodness.
really good. Yeah.
And here's an update that's not reflected in this. Loki season 2, which was supposed to come on October 6th, will now actually, the first episode will be out on October 5th, and it is a time release must-see TV, 6 p.m. Eastern. That show will be on. So it'll start off on October 5th is Wednesday, and then I think it'll be a Thursday drop. Or it
weird.
won't be. Yeah, I know, it's really bizarre.
October 5th is a Thursday, actually.
Oh, okay. So it'll be a Friday drop. I don't know, but Ahsoka comes out on a Wednesday, but it'll be over by then. But regardless, let's see what else do we have in October that jumps out. Oh boy, 90 Day Fiance. I have a friend who watches that kind of
Frasier.
stuff. Frasier, October 12. Yes. Yay!
Yes.
We
this
watched
is a reboot.
We watched,
no, it's a sequel.
Continuation. Yeah, we watched a handful of those episodes. It ran just as long as Cheers and MASH, 11 seasons. Which is crazy. So that would be one.
I loved Frasier so much more than
same.
Cheers. I don't know why. I love
it's
Frasier.
just the humor seems a bit more timeless than Cheers. I mean, Cheers, like I said, we did one of those watching the first season, and they had a gay shaming episode in the first season that was just very 80s. So maybe the Cheers humor just isn't as timeless. Plus, it's in a bar, which is
a little more lowbrow because it's a bar with people that Carla, Nick Tortelli, and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff, Yeah.
Ooh, the Tortelli's great spinoff.
Yep. Exactly.
Let's see. We talked about Goosebumps, which will be out on the 13th. Shining Veil, isn't that one we've touched on in the past? That sounds familiar.
Well, I mentioned that's the one that Courtney Cox is in. And
there you go.
Basically, a supernatural kind of comedy, but with some horror elements. So, like I said, if I can find a deal on Stars, I'll watch it.
$2. Oh, October 15th gives us the return of Rick and Morty. Naked and Afraid, that's great. But The Toys That Built America.
Great series.
Yeah, that's cool. Season 3.
Great series.
Now, is History Channel stuff just on like Discovery Plus or something like that, or where do you find it?
Good question. I get it on Philo. Some of the stuff does show up on Hulu. Because I watched a great show, Charlie, called Adam Eats the 80s. So Adam used to do these like eating shows, and it was he basically tried to eat or recreate food from the 80s, like Ecto Cooler or the Star Wars cereal. Great series. It was so fun. I may recommend you watch it because it's just he like goes to like Steve Sansweet's Star Wars museum.
Oh my goodness.
There's a Ghostbusters museum. There's an 80s cafe. It's really good. But The Toys That Built Us is really cool because it's almost like a documentary where you've got people like portraying like the people that made all of these different toys that made America. It's great. I highly recommend it.
I like it. All right. Well, rounding out the month, what else do you see here? Big Mouth, which is Nick Kroll series, which I kind of quickly tuned out of, is back on Netflix.
Yep. Wolf Like Me. Did you watch any of that? That's a series with Josh Gad, where he essentially meets a woman who happens to be a werewolf.
Man.
That's season 2 on Peacock.
Oh my goodness! Well, you got the back half of the final season of Fear the Walking Dead, which is again a favorite of April's. It's a show that I think kind of came a long while because they gear shifted 3 or 4 different times, recycled the cast, changed the setting. That's kind of what's going on right now. The Daryl Dixon show I think is good right now. I didn't mention I've talked about that previously, but that's ongoing. American Horror Stories is back on October 26th. I assume those are the vignettes.
Those are like one-offs or 2 episodes where they focus on it.
Yeah, there you go. They had some and I'm skimming. Looks like Doom Patrol is back for the back end of their 4th season. TBA.
There was a trailer for that finally dropped for the 4th season, and it just reminds me of I really like that show, so I need to go back and watch season 2.
Exactly correct.
Missy from Doctor Who is on that show. She's a new addition to the cast as of, I believe, season 3. So that's but this is the end of the show. It's ending up after 4 seasons. So that's pretty cool considering that series started on the DC Universe app, which
yes.
Yeah,
which is just a whole lot of know nothing. So, all right, what do we got in November here? Take it away.
Yeah, All the Light We Cannot See is based on a book on Netflix, and it's acclaimed. I really want to watch that because I'm probably not going to get around to reading a book like that. Just my attention span's really short. We already talked about For All Mankind. Season 4 is coming out Let's see. We also have. Oh, this is cool. If you're a fan of Ghost, the U.S. version, CBS is bringing on Ghost, the UK series, which is
Oh, nice.
finally ending after 5
Yeah.
seasons. And I've watched the first 2 seasons, and they're really enjoyable. It's a little bit different.
I still want to get around it. That's the one with Liv from iZombie, right? Isn't she the star? Ghost?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Great,
Okay.
great cast, very funny, really
Yeah.
good. So that's I'd highly recommend that. We talked about Scott Pilgrim takes off on Netflix. That's November 17th. And let's see, Doctor Who.
Ooh.
Charlie. We got the special season 15 special coming out, and unfortunately, Charlie, if you want to watch Doctor Who, you're going to have Disney Plus. It's not going to be on BBC America anymore, so
Oh,
it
boy.
will be on Disney Plus.
And
so
that's new programming. This is interesting. Does mention that a TBA is the back half and ultimately final season of Yellowstone, and Yellowstone, the first couple of seasons coming heavily edited, are coming to CBS. So trying to stretch out those dollars as much as possible. But yeah, Yellowstone is a show that we enjoy. Todd always likes to make fun of. But yeah, Kevin Costner quit the show because he wanted to move on, and so the show kind of dwindles and dies without him. Or maybe, I don't know if cancellation is official or if it's just dragging, if they'll find a way to drag it along without him. Who knows?
Yeah. Then we get into December. Percy Jackson Olympians, December 20th. Then we have a couple of they're supposed to come out in December, but they just haven't finalized the dates. Reacher, which I loved season
loved it. Yeah. Oh, that's
Yeah.
that Alan Richardson guy. Guy's building a brick shithouse. That guy is enormous.
Great.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
What if we know now that's moved into January?
Oh,
it's not a big
yeah.
problem.
Too bad.
And then that's about it. Some things may move out again.
Yeah.
Obviously the network stuff, it's just gonna be like reality shows, game shows.
It's all that
things
they
like
can put
dating
out there.
shows
And
and
they're gonna
reruns.
and adapted streaming stuff, so
Yeah.
ABC will have, some of the Marvel Disney Plus content, and they're doing what they can do to survive. Like I said, we're not on their side. We're on the side of the actors and the writers. Screw them.
I have a bunch of old comedies I haven't watched. I'll be okay.
Like I said, this is a conversation I had with my dad last month, who is, and as I had mentioned on the show, my dad is not in this world talking about this kind of stuff. And I said, there's not going to be any new stuff on next year that you're going to watch. He said, what's a good thing that there's 50 million things out there that you can watch on a bunch of different streaming services that you have anyway. So yeah, we'll all be okay. We'll all still go to work. But again, the folks in the entertainment industry, the SAG-AFTRA, and WGA striking folks.
People making props,
yeah.
people that are doing the makeup, they aren't working.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let's hope that the entertainment industry figures out what idiots they're being and starts to open up those books, because I don't think Tom Disney needs another yacht. So, all right.
Charlie, I have to take all of my interviews on a yacht. If not, then I'm not. My A game isn't on.
It's like people who have to write in a Starbucks so that other people can see you writing in Starbucks.
So you can tell me, I remember as a struggling writer in a Starbucks. Yeah.
In a Starbucks. Yeah, exactly correct. All right. Well, that is the end of the program. Friends, thank you as always for joining us. Todd, where do people find you out there?
Yes, I am pushing more and more of my visibility onto Threads and Instagram. Twitter is going to start charging. That is a no-go. I don't value that enough, but I want to make sure I get all of the people that I enjoy interacting on Twitter over to Threads and Instagram. And apparently you can export your data from Twitter, but I think you have to actually request it. It's very weird. So I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to find everybody I follow them on those channels so I don't lose anybody, and go from there.
Interesting. Oh, I might have to look into that myself. So, but anyway, in the short term, you're over on Twitter still, I assume, or what is
I am on X, and I have made some. I just have reached out to a couple people, and we might have some new guests or segments because of that. So that's why I love that type of interaction with people. So,
I agree.
Yeah, at Toxtra, at Secret Friends U on those services for now. But yeah, Threads and Instagram will be the primary very soon, probably.
All right. And I'm dabbling a bit more on Instagram myself these days. I'm at C3 Carpenter, to spell it out. I am still over on X at the C3, where you can find me. As always, my lovely wife in April and I do run the USS Grand Petoskey, one of the biggest chapters of the International Star Trek fan club in the world. We are based here in West Michigan, have people all over Michigan. I'm also privileged to run Region 13, which is Michigan and Eastern Canada. If you're a Trekker within the sound of my voice and would like to meet other Trekkers in your neighborhood, etc., visit us at websites of that name or give us a Googs and we will connect you. So, once more, friends, thank you as always for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
In a truck.
Don't stop popping.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.